Look, as much as I think that one of the most effective ministers we've had in this government has been the Minister of Education, Erica Stanford, who has reformed the building of school classrooms to save money, introduced a ban on smartphones during class hours, which I think is an excellent move given the cancer that is social media in our society, and seems focused and capable in her role, including some quite major reforms to our examination systems in NCEA. I was really concerned, alarmed at the axing of one subject for secondary school children as we changed the curriculum somewhat to recognise, I guess, the fact the world has moved on. And that is the dropping of specific art history from the latter parts of secondary school. I didn't take art history. I did take art because I wasn't bad at it. But I have more recently actually been consuming through reading and through, because my mother was an artist and has an extensive collection of books which are sitting clogging up my house on art history. I've also seen some really good documentary series on great works of art, one in particular which just fascinated me and taught me that art is in fact a reflection of human evolution and societies. So I'm concerned to see that under the new curriculum, art history is going. Also concerned is Dr Barbara Ormond from the New Zealand Art History Teachers Association. And she joins me on the phone now. Barbara, welcome to the platform. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Look, art history, how widely has it been taught in New Zealand? How many teachers specialise or are qualified to take an art history class at secondary school?
Well, it's widespread across the whole country. There's about nearly 130 schools that have students taking art history at the moment. And it's a subject that is very much loved by teachers and by students in schools, and art history teachers are very shocked and upset to hear that art history is going to be removed from the subject list. It's such a well-established subject that's been
one would
in
think
New Zealand
it is
for over 50 years.
It's not like a newfangled thing at all. When you study art history, what are its practical applications going forward for a student who's taken art history at this level?
Well, there's wide-ranging applications, really, and surprising applications, because it's a subject that is so rich in teaching you about the world that we live in and how it's viewed and represented. And because it has such high literacy requirements, students can move through into law, they can move into business, they can move into politics, they can move into all sorts of fields, and of course in the creative arts and industries, which is a growing area in New Zealand. So it's applicable really across a whole range of potential workplaces in the future. The graduates of art history from university are very well thought of because they have such high-level critical thinking skills and the ability to write a very effective argument, those sorts of things.
Yeah, look, I've got to say, and I just want to mention, Barbara, for people who haven't seen it, there's a series either called Great Paintings of the World or The World's Greatest Paintings by a British broadcaster called Andrew Marr, which I watched about 6-8 months ago and absolutely was fascinating. And it was, albeit a slightly simplified piece of art history, but I particularly remember him talking about The Night Watch by Rembrandt and also The Fighting Temeraire by J.M.W. Turner, and how much those works of art represented a time and space and spoke to the entire state of the world or civilization at the time. And it's a great series and kind of reinvigorated my interest in art history. What excuse has the government given you and given art history teachers for axing this subject?
They haven't made any announcement, really, because their announcement was about the new subjects that they were putting in the subject list. They didn't actually mention the subjects that were going from the subject list. So we don't know. We have a sense that there's a belief that it could be part of visual arts, so that the practical art courses would then teach some art history. But of course, it's a bit tricky to do that. One, because there's not a huge amount of time within practical art courses to do a coherent, meaningful art history program when you're also trying to get your portfolio ready for your practical art courses. And it also is a problem because it's not only visual arts students that take art history. In fact, we don't know the statistics, but large numbers of the students are actually doing things like science and English and history and classics and other subjects. And they're taking art history alongside those subjects. They're not students of visual arts. So it would cut out enormous numbers of students.
And it's not like it's an easy pass. It's not like it's a BS course or has ever been a BS course.